There is something many parents believe in good faith, that if they don't fight in front of their children, the children don't notice. But they do. Always. Because children don't need to see the fight to feel it. They feel it in the tense silence at the dinner table, in the way one parent avoids the other's eyes when they enter the room, in the breathing that changes, in the energy that weighs heavy, in the forced smile that never reaches the eyes. Children are extraordinarily sensitive to the emotional environment around them. And when that environment is one of constant conflict, even silent conflict, they start to react. Some become restless. Others become too quiet. Some start having problems at school. Others become extremely well-behaved, almost invisible, as if they believed that being perfectly good could fix what was wrong at home. And some take on a role they should never have had to take on, the role of mediator, of messenger between the parents, the one responsible for the family's mood. A child who learns to constantly monitor the emotional state of the adults around them is paying too high a price for a bill that was never theirs. There is something important that needs to be said. The conflict between parents affects children not only through what happens during childhood. It leaves marks that appear much later, in the way that child, now an adult, will relate to others, whether they will trust people, whether they will know how to ask for what they need, whether they will believe they deserve stable love, or whether they will unconsciously seek relationships that reproduce the instability they learned to call normal. This is not an accusation toward parents. Most people do the best they can with what they have, with the wounds they carry, with the emotional resources they developed, or never developed. It is an observation about how the love between parents, or the absence of it, becomes the first model of relationship that a child knows. And models learned that early are hard to question, because they feel normal, because it is all that was ever known. There is a question that many parents need to ask themselves, not, am I fighting in front of my children? But rather, what model of relationships are my children learning by watching me? Because children don't learn about love only from what we say. They learn from what they see, from what they feel, from what they live inside the home every single day. And the best thing a mother or father can do for their children is not to hide the conflicts. It is to work on resolving them, whether within the relationship, whether through a separation carried out with respect, whether through professional help. Because children don't need perfect parents. They need parents who are willing to grow. Book reflection. Between parent and child, Hemginot explains that a child's emotional health does not depend on the absence of conflict at home, but on the way the adults around them handle that conflict. Children learn to regulate their own emotions by watching how adults regulate theirs. Film to reflect on. In Kramer vs. Kramer, we follow how a conflicted separation deeply impacts a child, and how two parents must learn to put their child above their own pain. Sometimes, the greatest act of love for your children is making peace with someone you no longer love. Emotional practice of the day. If you are a parent, answer honestly. What model of relationships are my children learning by watching me? Is there a conflict I am carrying that is affecting the atmosphere at home? What could I do differently today for the emotional well-being of my children? If you grew up in a home with conflict between your parents, answer. What patterns did I learn about relationships that I may need to question today? There is no perfect answer. There is only the willingness to look honestly. I want to talk about something I see often in my practice. Adults who come to me with difficulties in their relationships, and who, when we explore their history, always find one thing in common. They grew up in homes where conflict between their parents was constant. Not necessarily with shouting, sometimes with silences, with coldness, with a tension that never resolved itself. In psychology, we know that the relationship between parents functions as the first model of emotional bonding that a child internalizes. It is from this model that they will build their expectations about how relationships work. If love comes with constant conflict, they learn that conflict is normal. If love comes with punishing silence, they learn that silence is a form of communication. If love comes with instability, they learn to seek instability. And the most delicate part is that all of this happens without the child, and later the adult, even realizing it. Because it is simply what was always normal. The good news is that learned patterns can be questioned. They can be understood. And with time and the right support, they can be transformed. But the first step is always the same. Realizing that what was learned does not need to be repeated. Tell us in the comments. How did your parents' relationship influence the way you relate to others today? Share this with someone who is reflecting on the patterns they learned at home. Subscribe to Ties That Hurt for more reflections on relationships, self-esteem, identity, and emotional healing.
You never fought in front of me, but I felt everything just the same. The silence at the dinner table, the eyes that looked away when one of you came. I learned to read the room before I spoke, to measure every word, every step I take. I became an expert at not being a burden, so I wouldn't break what was already breaking. I never asked to be the adult in the family, but I learned to carry weight that wasn't mine. And when I grew up, I thought it was normal to love with fear, to walk on eggshells, to lose myself every time. What kind of inheritance is this you gave me? To love with anxiety and call it passion, to seek the chaos cause the peace feels foreign, to mistake the tension for a real connection. It's not blame, it's not a judgment, it's just the child who still lives inside of me, trying to understand why the love I learned still hurts this much, still costs this much to feel. I grew up thinking conflict was just normal, that punishing silence was a form of love, that I had to earn affection every morning, and anything good would disappear above. Today I understand where this wound came from. It wasn't born in me, it was taught this way. And what was learned can also be unlearned. This healing starts with me today. I never asked to be the adult in the family, but I learned to carry weight that wasn't mine. And when I grew up, I thought it was normal to love with fear, to walk on eggshells, to lose myself every time. What kind of inheritance is this you gave me? To love with anxiety and call it passion, to seek the chaos cause the peace feels foreign, to mistake the tension for a real connection. It's not blame, it's not a judgment, it's just a child who still lives inside of me, trying to understand why the love I learned still hurts this much, still costs this much to feel. I don't wanna pass this on, I don't want my children to feel what I felt. The greatest inheritance I can leave for them is learning how to heal myself. What kind of inheritance do I wanna leave? To love with calm and finally call it love, to seek the peace because I learned that it is real, to mistake the safety for True connection, it's not blame, it's not a judgment. It's just the adult who chooses to begin again. What was learned can also be unlearned, and healthy love can start right here within. Not an inheritance of pain, an inheritance of healing. Not what I was taught, but what I choose now.